أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Surah 57, Al-Hadid. Title. Verse 25 of this surah refers to Al-Hadid, which is the surah's title. Period of revelation. The consensus view is that Al-Hadid is a Medinan surah. Its contents indicate that it must have been revealed in the intervening period between the Battle of Uhud and the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. For it was during that period that the small Islamic state of Medina was fully surrounded by the unbelievers. The Muslims were few in number and without resources, and they were forced to defend themselves against the might of all Arabia. In such conditions, the Muslims were obliged to lay down their lives and to donate all that they had. Accordingly, the surah makes a strong appeal to them for sacrifice. Thus, verse 10 of this surah tells the believers, "Those who spend their wealth and took part in fighting before the victory cannot be equated with those who spent their wealth and took part in fighting afterwards." The timing is further substantiated by Anas's report cited by Ibn Murdawayh. The latter points out that verse 16 of this surah, which shook the believers, was sent down 17 years after the first revelation of the Quran. Going by this account, this surah must have been sent down between 4 to 5 after Hijri. Subject matter and themes. This surah exhorts Muslims to spend in Allah's way. It was received during a critical period in the history of Islam, as the decisive encounter between Islam and Arab Jahiliyyah was on. This surah was sent down pointedly to prompt Muslims to donate in Allah's way. It forcefully conveys to them that faith does not consist in mere verbal profession of faith and performing certain rituals. Its spirit consists in one's utmost sincerity towards Allah and His faith. Those devoid of this spirit of faith and who prefer to keep their life and belongings rather than act to support their faith should realize that their faith is hollow. It will not have any worth in Allah's sight. To press home the above points, the surah first states the divine attributes. These are intended to make listeners realize that they are being addressed by the Almighty. The divine attributes are then followed by the articulation of the following points. 1. Faith demands that one should not shy away from spending his money in Allah's way. Such an attitude is discordant with faith and is wrong in principle, for their belongings are actually Allah's. The faithful are only trustees of Allah's wealth. In the past, their wealth was someone else's, and though it is now with them, it will be transferred to others in the future. Eventually, all will return to Allah, as He is the inheritor of the entire universe. What they spend in Allah's way will benefit them. 2. Although any sacrifice of life and belongings in Allah's way is valuable in itself, its value increases according to the situation. There might be a situation when the resourceful forces of unbelief might attempt to obliterate Islam altogether, or alternatively, Islam might be in the ascendant, with the believers having gained victory over the enemies of truth. All these situations are opposites. The sacrifices made in each do not carry the same reward. Those who lay down their lives and spend all that they have when Islam is weak cannot be equated with those who make sacrifices when Islam is ascendant. 3. All that is spent in the cause of truth is alone to Allah. He will return it after increasing it manifold. He will bestow additional rewards as well. 4. Only those will be blessed with heavenly light in the hereafter who have spent in Allah's way. As to the hypocrites whose eyes are set on only their worldly gains and who disregard the battle between truth and falsehood, they may be reckoned as Muslims in this world if they live in the company of Muslims. However, they will be separated from Muslims on the Day of Judgment. They will be denied the heavenly light and will be treated like unbelievers. 5. Muslims should not behave like the worldly-minded people of the book who have turned indifferent to truth. A believer's heart melts as and when God is mentioned. He submits wholly to the truth revealed by him. 6. In the eyes of Allah, only such believers are the truthful and martyrs who sincerely spend their belongings in Allah's way without any hypocrisy or showing off. 7. The life of this world is ephemeral. People vie with one another in worldly sports, allurements, and wealth. All of these are mortal, unreal. These are akin to the produce that no doubt appears green at first, but soon turns pale and is reduced to dust. The real abiding life is of the hereafter, and actions have far-reaching consequences. People should compete with one another only in the race towards paradise. 8. All adversity and prosperity experienced in this life are preordained by Allah. A Muslim should not lose spirit when some calamity befalls him. Likewise, he should not be without self-control when he is blessed with prosperity. Only hypocrites and unbelievers behave thus. They boast when Allah confers His bounties on them, act as misers on being asked to spend in Allah's way, and even ask others to be miserly. 9. Allah deputed His messengers with evident signs, with scriptures, and with the scale of justice, in order that they might instruct people in justice. He also sent down iron, so that force may be used to establish truth and humble falsehood. Allah intends to test who will stand to help and support His faith and exert themselves in His cause. Allah has provided these opportunities so that people may enhance their rank. Otherwise, Allah is not dependent on anyone for His cause. 10. Messengers of Allah appeared also earlier. Their mission helped some people follow the straight way. However, most of the people clung to error and wickedness. Then the Prophet Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, appeared. His teachings helped many learn morals and manners. However, his followers took to monasticism. Now, Allah has deputed Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Those who believe in him and lead their life in accordance with divine code will be blessed with His mercy. He will confer upon them the light that will enable them to follow the straight way, even in the maze of life. The people of the book lay their claim to His mercy. However, He showers His grace upon whom He wills. These themes are broached in the above order in this surah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
سبح لله ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم.
All that is in the heavens and the earth extols the glory of Allah. He is the most mighty, the most wise.
1. That is, it has always been so that everything in the universe has proclaimed the truth that its creator and sustainer is free from every blemish and defect, every weakness, error, and evil. He is glorified in His essence, He is glorified in His attributes, He is glorified in His works as well as His commands, whether they relate to the creation or to the religious law for mankind. Here Sabaha has been used in the past tense. At other places Yusabihu has been used, which includes both the present and the future tenses. This would signify that every particle in the universe has always been extolling the glory of its creator and sustainer in the past, is doing at present, and will continue to do the same in the future forever and ever. 2. That is, not only is He almighty and all-wise, but the truth is that He alone is almighty and all-wise. The word Aziz signifies a mighty and powerful being whose decrees cannot be prevented by any power in the world from being enforced, whom no one can oppose and resist, who has to be obeyed by everyone whether one likes it or not, whose rebel cannot escape His accountability and punishment in any way. The word Hakim signifies that whatever He does it wisely. His creation, His administration and rule, His commands and guidance, all are based on wisdom. None of His works is tarnished by any tract of folly or ignorance. There is another fine point here, which one should fully understand. Seldom in the Quran has Allah's attribute of Aziz, Almighty, been accompanied by His attributes of being Qawi, strong, Muqtadir, powerful, Jabber, omnipotent, Duntakam, avenger, and the like, which only signify His absolute power, and this has been so only in places where the context demanded that the wicked and disobedient be warned of Allah's relentless punishment. Apart from such few places, wherever the word Aziz has been used for Allah, it has everywhere been accompanied by one or other of his attributes of being Hakim, wise, Alim, knower, Rahim, merciful, Ghafir, forgiving, Wahhab, generous, and Hamid, praiseworthy. The reason is that if a being who wields unlimited power is at the same time unwise, ignorant, unforgiving as well as stingy and devoid of character, its power and authority cannot but lead to injustice and wickedness. Thus, wherever injustice and wickedness is being committed in the world, it is only because the one who wields authority over others is either using his power unwisely and foolishly, or he is merciless and hard-hearted, or evil-minded and wicked. Wherever power is coupled with these evil traits of character, no good can be expected to result. That is why in the Quran Allah's attribute of Aziz has necessarily been accompanied by his attributes of being all-wise and knowing, compassionate and forgiving, praiseworthy and generous. So that man may know that the God who is ruling this universe has, on the one hand, such absolute power that no one, from the earth to the heavens, can prevent his decrees from being enforced. But on the other hand, he is also all-wise, his each decision is based on perfect wisdom. He is also all-knowing, whatever decision he makes, it is precisely according to knowledge. He is also compassionate, he does not use infinite power mercilessly. He is forgiving as well, he does not punish his creatures for trifling faults, but overlooks their errors. He is also generous, he does not treat his subjects stingily, but liberally and benevolently. And he is also praiseworthy, he combines in himself all praiseworthy virtues and excellences. The importance of this statement of the Quran can be better understood by those people who are aware of the discussions of the philosophy of politics and law on the question of sovereignty. Sovereignty connotes that the one who possesses it should wield unlimited power. There should be no internal and external power to change or modify his decision or prevent it from being enforced, and none should have any alternative but to obey him. At the mere concept of this infinite and unlimited power, man's common sense necessarily demands that whoever attains to such power should be faultless and perfect in knowledge and wisdom, for if the one holding this power is ignorant, merciless and evil, his sovereignty will inevitably lead to wickedness and corruption. That is why the philosophers, who regarded a single man, or a man-made institution, or an assembly of men as the holder of this power, have had to presume that he or it would be infallible. But obviously, either can unlimited sovereignty be actually attained by a human power, nor is it possible for a king, or a parliament, or a nation, or a party that it may use the sovereignty attained by it in a limited circle faultlessly and harmlessly. The reason is that the wisdom that is wholly free of every trace of folly, and the knowledge that fully comprehends all the related truths, is not at all possessed even by entire mankind, not to speak of its being attained by an individual, or an institution, or a nation. Likewise, as long as man is man, his being wholly free of and above selfishness, sensuality, fear, greed, desires, prejudice and sentimental love, anger and hate is also not possible. If a person ponders over these truths, he will realize that the Quran is indeed presenting here a correct and perfect view of sovereignty. It says that no one except Allah in this universe is possessor of absolute power, and with this unlimited power he alone is faultless, all-wise and all-knowing, compassionate and forgiving, and praiseworthy and generous in his dealings with his subjects.
له ملك السماوات والأرض يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير.
His is the dominion of the heavens and the earth. He gives life and causes death, and he has the power over everything.
هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم.
He is the first and the last, and the manifest and the hidden, and he has knowledge of everything.
3. That is, when there was nothing, he was, and when there will be nothing, he will be. He is the most manifest of all the manifests, for whatever manifests itself in the world, does so only by His attributes and His works and His light. And He is the most hidden of all the hidden, for not only do the senses fail to perceive Him, but the intellect and thought and imagination also cannot attain to His essence and reality. The best commentary in this regard is a supplication of the Prophet, peace be upon him, which Imam Ahmad, Muslim, Tirmidhi, and Baihaqi have related on the authority of Abu Hurairah, and Hafiz Abu Ya'la Mazuli in his Musnad on the authority of Aisha, Antal al, Afalaysa Kablaka Shayan, Wa Antal Akir Falaysa Ba Daka Shayan, Wa Antal Zahir, Afalaysa Falkaka Shayan, Wa Anfal Batan, Afalaysa Dinaka Shayan. You alone are the first, none is before you, you alone are the last, none is after you, you alone are the exalted, none is above you, you alone are the hidden, none is more hidden than you. Here, the question arises, how does this accord with the immortality and eternal life of the dwellers of paradise and how mentioned in the Quran when Allah alone is the last and eternal? Its answer has been provided by the Quran itself. Everything is perishable except Allah Himself. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayat 88. In other words, no creature is immortal in its personal capacity. If a thing exists or continues to exist, it does so because Allah keeps it so, and can exist only by His letting it exist. Otherwise, in its own capacity, everything is perishable except Allah. Immortality in heaven and hell will not be bestowed upon somebody because he is immortal by himself, but because Allah will grant him eternal life. The same is true of the angels. They are not immortal by themselves. When Allah willed, they came into existence, and will continue to exist only as long as He wills.
هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يعلم ما يلج في الأرض وما يخرج منها وما ينزل من السماء وما يعرج فيها وهو معكم أينما كنتم والله بما تعملون بصير.
He it is who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and then established Himself on the throne. He knows all that enters the earth, and all that comes forth from it, and all that comes down from the heaven, and all that goes up to it. He is with you wherever you are. Allah sees all that you do.
For, that is, He alone is the creator of the universe as well as its ruler. For further explanation, see E.Ns 41, 42 of Surah Al-Araf, Yen 4 of Surah An-Yunus, E.Ns 2-5 of Surah Ar-Ra'd, E.Ns 11-15 of Surah Hamim as Sajda. 5. In other words, He is not only the knower of the all but also of the parts. He knows each seed that goes under the layers of the soil, each leaf and bud that comes out of the soil, each raindrop that falls from the sky, and each molecule of the vapor that ascends from the seas and lakes to the sky. He is aware of every seed lying anywhere under the soil. That is how He causes it to split and sprout up and develop. He is aware of how much vapor has risen from each different place, and where it has reached. That is how He collects it into cloud and distributes it, and causes it to fall as rain in due measure on different places of the earth. The same is true of the details of everything that goes into the earth and comes out of it, and of everything that ascends to the sky and descends from it. If all this were not comprehended by Allah in His knowledge, it would not be possible for Him to plan and order each thing separately, and to regulate and control it in a wise manner. 6. That is, nowhere are you outside Allah's knowledge, His power, His rule, His management and administration. Allah knows wherever you are, whether in the earth, or the air, or the water, or in a secret place. Your being alive there is by itself a proof that Allah is providing for you in that very place. If your heart is beating, if your lungs are breathing, if your hearing and your sight are functioning, it is only because all parts of your body are working under Allah's rule. And if death comes to you at any place, it comes because Allah takes a decision to stop providing for you and to recall you from the world.
له ملك السماوات والأرض وإلى الله ترجع الأمور.
His is the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and to Him are all matters referred for judgment.
يولج الليل في النهار ويولج النهار في الليل وهو عليم بذات الصدور.
He causes the night to pass into the day, and causes the day to pass into the night, and He fully knows all that is hidden in the breasts of people.